If you've got back pain, disc bulges, pain shooting down your leg or sciatica, this video is for you. So today we're going to talk about flexibility, how far forwards you can bend, how far backwards, side to side, rotate. Now, if you're starting to get a bit stiff, not very flexible, the discs in your back, so these are those transparent gray looking things in between your bones, they can dehydrate. They've got fluid inside them. And so if they dehydrate, if they get stiffer, they start to shrink, which is why, imagine you've got quite a few in here. Imagine all of them start to shrink by a little bit. That's why when you get older, you get shorter. You actually are losing bit by bit a millimeter in each of them, and you lose a couple of centimeters. So you want them to remain healthy and fat, full of water. And if you don't, sometimes they can actually get little bulges, things going outside of it, which can press on your nerve and cause pain shooting down your leg. If that bulge becomes too big, it presses more and more, and your nerve can get compressed, and it can cause pain, it can cause weakness and numbness. So get your back moving, get your back more flexible, and you're more likely to have bigger, thicker discs and healthier discs and less back pain for life. Hi guys, before we get into the stretches, I'd like to extend the invitation to like, follow and subscribe. It's a small click for you, but it does so much for a growing channel like us. So the first movement we're gonna do is flexion. It's how well can you bend down and touch your toes. Now, if you are mid shin or less, you need to improve it. Just because you're gonna need to pick things up from the floor. If you can't do that, you're gonna have to bend your legs and do all sorts of funny things. So try to optimize it. A more flexible back, like I said, is much more healthy. So how are you gonna get from there to a bit lower, or even just improve what you currently have? One of my favorite ways is to stretch all the muscles at the back of your legs. That's your glutes, your hamstrings, your calves. So let's start with the glutes. So to stretch your glute or your big bottom muscle, put your foot on your other leg. You want this to go as close to this as possible. So this leg straight ahead, pull across into the other side. You want to shorten this angle or this distance. You should already feel a pretty big stretch there. You want to increase that stretch, bring that foot out further, or bring that knee to your chest further. Use your other hand. So if you're only using the same hand, you're not going to get a good grip. Use your other elbow, really wrap it around, chest up tall, turn to that side, slow breaths in and out. As you breathe in and out, you're gonna be able to turn in a little further. Nice, big, massive stretch into your glutes. If you get really flexible in your glutes, because it's behind, you're gonna be able to bend down further. Same thing for the other side. Try to have that foot on the floor. Don't lift it up too much, and stretch. All right, moving on to the next stage down, the next muscle, your hamstrings. Getting them really loose is gonna help you bend better. So simple, hands on a step. Now I've picked a high step. Now you can bend both knees, but then you really wanna straighten one leg out. Do that for 20, 30 seconds. I feel a pretty big stretch in my hamstrings. My knee is not fully straight. If you can't get quite a full extension, you may need a higher step. And then the other side, 20, 30 seconds. And you just repeat that a couple of times at least on each side. That's the elephant walk stretch. Then let's move on to your calves. I'm leaning on into the wall. I'm not poking my bum back, because if I do that, I'm not really stretching my calves. You want to get all the way forwards, feet pointing straight ahead, not splayed out to the side, holding on, and then one leg at a time. Now a wall's better because you don't want to be relying on your balance. So at least 30 seconds on each side. Nice, you'll feel a nice big stretch there. I've done 3 muscles, glutes, hamstrings, calves. And I'm gonna finish with a stretched deadlift. It doesn't have to be super heavy, going all the way down to your feet until you feel a really big, nice stretch into your hamstrings and back up. And now if that's not challenging enough for you, you can do it on a step. And you can already see that I'm starting to go a bit lower than when I first started. So if I've done this for a little while, you should find suddenly, before you might have gone to your mid shins, but now you're going right onto your feet, knees straight, you got a lot more range of motion. And if you get range of motion, you want to keep it. Don't let your flexibility go backwards. At least maintain it or improve it. It's time to go backwards. Now you want to get at least 20, 30 degrees. And so if you're only going like this, or you've got barely any movement at all, it's a sign that dehydration is possibly starting to happen. You want to nip this in the bud. You don't have to be like a gymnast and go freakish amounts backwards, but if you have very little movement, get your back moving. Your back relies on circulation. If you don't use it, you lose it, and those discs tend to shrink and you're high risk of disc bulges, so get flexible going backwards. How we're going to improve that is probably just cobra pose. Really simple. Do not lift off your pelvis. Keep your pelvis and your tailbone down. Straighten your arm. Chest up tall. Try not to shrug like that. Keep your shoulders down. And you can hold it for as long as you like and repeat. If you're one of those people who don't have a lot of range of motion, you can start on your elbows. That's a good start, starting from somewhere. And then you can start further forwards and gradually work your way backwards. You might start with bent elbows, but gradually get them straighter until they're right underneath you, and you can go all the way back. You should feel most of a stretch at the lower back, and you're holding for a little while. And they actually call this a Mackenzie extension because it's known to help with disc bulges. Most of your disc bulges are bulging backwards, and this tends to help push the disc fluid forwards again. So it helps to counteract all the sitting and all the bending you do. Most of daily life's in a bent position. It tends to cause your disc material to go backwards, causing those disc bulges I was talking about. The second really good one is the couch stretch. It's a put your foot on the bed, knee on the foam pad, and go backwards. So you want this knee to go as close to the plinth as you can, the foot up on there, just resting. And then you want to bring your bottom back to your foot, chest up tall, shoulders back. You should feel quite a nice stretch down your quads and your hip flexors. If you want to do more of your hip flexor, you can just lunge forwards a little bit. You should feel a nice stretch there. And then you can alternate that to your quads. Getting all of these muscles loose will probably help you bend backwards. And of course, you want to do that from the other side as well. Hold for 30 seconds or more and repeat several times. All right, guys, so the next one is lateral flexion. Now, to the knee crease is what we're after. To the side there, and now the other side, of course, as well. So this is lateral flexion. The side muscles of your back, quadratus lumborum, are probably the ones that are gonna limit you going side to side. So what you're gonna do about that is to stretch your lats, of course. So hand behind your head and really tip. That should stretch your lats. You can turn to the ceiling. And same thing the other side. And then you can get a weight. A weight's gonna really help you because it just helps you lean further to the side. An arm overhead can actually add some extra weight to that. And you're gonna go, and you can see I'm probably already going a little bit further than before. Now again, I'm gonna use this big pole for a demonstration. Pretend it's a solid bar, it's immovable, it's not gonna move. And then I'm gonna put my hand on it, I'm gonna grasp it. This is my right arm, I'm gonna put my right leg behind and I'm gonna sweep all the way through. That's a really good way to stretch the whole outside of your body. And I'm gonna sweep in and through. Put your weight on the back leg and you should feel a really good stretch coming through here. And that's how you can stretch the whole side of your back. So repeating that several times is going to help you. So stretch your lats and your side muscle there. So the final movement is rotation. Hands on your chest, rotate. You should be able to go at least 60 degrees. So if 45 degrees is here, you want to go a bit further to get good range of motion. Now the way we're going to do this is to get a stick. You can get a mop, you can get a broomstick, put it between your shoulder blades. Do not let it lift off. It should be touching your shoulder to shoulder and not lifting off. And then you want to rotate as much as you can. This should give you a pretty clear idea because you're going to use both ends of a stick to give you an indication of how much you can rotate. Deep breaths in, and as you breathe out, you should be able to go a little bit further. And same thing the other way as well. The other thing that you're going to do to improve your rotation if you are less than 60 degrees is to go into 4-point kneeling. I'm going to get one hand, I'm going to sweep all the way through and under. I'm trying to fit as much of my shoulder as I can. And then I'm going to put my hand on my forehead and I'm going to rotate my elbow, hopefully straight up to the sky. So going all the way through, hold 2, 3, and up to the sky. Once to point all the way up to the ceiling, I'm not quite getting there. And if you repeat that, you'll get full range of motion or a more flexible lower back and upper back as well. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching to the end. You now know what our videos are all about. We're all about common sense stuff, getting more flexible, getting stronger. I've given you some relative normal values of what you want to reach and compare yourself to what seems to be a good range for people who are pain-free. Now, if you have a disc bulge, if you've got sciatica, I've got good news for you. The majority of them heal. So if people are telling you you're going to have this for life, please do not listen to them. You've got to get moving. You've got to get more flexible. You've got to get stronger in your back. We've done a little video on it. One of our first videos was how to get your back stronger, but the back is divided into your tummy, your lower back, and your legs. If you get all three of them stronger, you'll have less back pain, less sciatica, less pain down your legs. And if you have a disc bulge, the best thing you can do is move. Discs in your lower back rely on movement, getting blood flow through movement. And so keep following us because we've got many more videos to come about how you can improve lower back pain and disc and sciatica injuries.